His story began not with a puff of smoke, but with a cry. Erich Weiss was born in Budapest, Hungary, in the year 1874. Life there was hard for his family. His father, a rabbi, struggled to make ends meet, so, like many others, they looked towards America. It was a land of dreams, a place for a fresh start. Little Eric was only a small boy, just 4 years old, when they made the long journey. They settled in Appleton, Wisconsin. The new country was vast and very different. The family name soon changed to Weiss. Young Eric, as he was now called, had an active mind. Eric was always curious, always exploring. He was fascinated by locks from a very early age. He would pick them for fun. He also loved physical challenges. He ran, he swam, he built his strength. At just 9 years old, he made his first public appearance. It was a trapeze act. He called himself Eric, the Prince of the Air. This was a small hint of the showman he would become. He was also deeply inspired by the memoirs of a famous French magician, Jean-Eugène Robert Houdin. The name stuck with him, a seed planted in his young, ambitious mind. Life was not always easy for the Weiss family in America. Money was often scarce. Young Eric took on many odd jobs to help his family. He was a newsboy, he worked as a bootblack, he even cut necks in a tie factory. These experiences taught him resilience. They also gave him a keen understanding of people. He learned to observe, to listen, to understand what captivated an audience. Through all these jobs, his passion for magic and performance never faded. It only grew stronger, a burning fire within him. He practiced card tricks. He honed his dexterity. He knew he wanted more than just small-town performances. He dreamt of bigger stages, of thrilling crowds. It was around this time he decided on a new name, a name that would become legendary. He took Houdin from his French idol. He added an I at the end, thinking it meant like Houdin. Thus, Harry Houdini was born, or rather, Eric Weiss transformed into him. He and his brother Theo, known as Dash, started performing together. They called themselves the Brothers Houdini. Their early acts were modest, but the ambition was already there, plain to see. The path to fame was not a straight one for Houdini. It was filled with struggles. He and Bess, his beloved wife and stage partner, whom he married in 1894, knew lean times. They performed in dime museums, those curious places full of oddities. They joined traveling circuses moving from one small town to another. The pay was little, the conditions were often rough. Bess was not just his wife, she was his rock. She assisted him in his acts, a vital part of his early performances. She believed in his talent even when success seemed far away. He was very much dedicated to her. Houdini was not content with simple card tricks or disappearing handkerchiefs. He wanted something more dramatic, something that would truly grip the public. He found his niche in escapes, particularly escapes from handcuffs. This was his masterstroke. He began challenging police departments across the country. He would boast that no handcuffs could hold him. Local police officers, confident in their restraints, would take up the challenge. Time after time, Houdini would free himself, often in minutes. This was great publicity. Newspapers loved these stories of the man who could escape any lock. His reputation as the handcuff king began to soar. He was a sensation. He took his act to Europe in 1900. This was a very clever move. European audiences were captivated by this brash American. He challenged Scotland Yard in London. He escaped from German police restraints. Each successful escape added to his growing legend. He was not just a magician, he was a folk hero. He represented freedom, the ability to overcome any obstacle. His shows were always sold out. People queued for hours just to get a glimpse of his daring feats. He understood the power of a good story. This period cemented his fame. He was meticulous in his preparations. He understood locks and how they worked. He also understood the human mind. He knew how to build suspense. He knew how to play to the crowd. His physical strength and agility were, of course, very important. He trained his body relentlessly. He could control his muscles in ways most people could not even imagine. Anecdotes from this time showcase his sheer determination. Once in England, he was challenged with a special set of handcuffs. It took him longer than usual, but he eventually emerged, triumphant and smiling. As the handcuff king, Houdini had conquered one domain, but he was always pushing boundaries, always seeking new challenges. He knew he had to evolve to keep his audience thrilled, so he developed even more sensational escapes. These were not just about picking locks, they were about defying death itself. The milk can escape became one of his signatures. He would be handcuffed and sealed inside a large milk can. The can would then be filled with water. The tension in the audience would be almost unbearable. Then, just when it seemed impossible, he would emerge, wet but victorious. Another of his most famous and dangerous stunts was the Chinese water torture cell. This was truly a spectacle. Houdini would be suspended upside down, his ankles locked in stocks. He would then be lowered headfirst into a glass tank filled with water. The tank was locked. A curtain would be drawn. Minutes would pass. The audience would hold its breath. His assistants would stand by, axe in hand, ready to break the glass if needed. But it was never needed. Houdini always escaped. He said it was the most dangerous trick he ever performed. His understanding of breath control was phenomenal. His determination was legendary. There are many stories that show this. Once, in Detroit, he was challenged to escape from a riveted boiler. It seemed impossible. The workers had sealed him in tightly, but Houdini found a way. He always found a way. He also performed daring outdoor stunts for publicity. He would escape from a straitjacket while hanging upside down, high above a city street. Thousands would gather to watch. These free public spectacles made him even more famous. He knew how to capture the imagination of the entire city. He was a master of self-promotion, no doubt. Houdini's creativity was not limited to escapes. He was an innovator. He studied the history of magic. He collected books on the subject. He wanted to understand every aspect of his craft. He also exposed fraudulent mediums and spiritualists. This became a passion in his later years. He used his knowledge of trickery to show how these fakes were deceiving grieving people. This made him some enemies, of course, but Houdini was never one to back down from a fight, especially when he believed he was right. His mind was always working, always thinking of the next big thing. In his later years, Houdini dedicated much energy to his campaign against spiritualism. After his beloved mother Cecilia died, he sought comfort from mediums. He hoped to contact her spirit, but he found only trickery and deceit. This deeply angered him. He felt they preyed on vulnerable people, so he set out to expose them. He would attend seances in disguise. He would replicate their supernatural feats on stage, showing how they were done by clever tricks. This crusade was important to him. He even testified before the US Congress about the need for laws against such fraud. Houdini's death in October 1926 on Halloween was sudden and somewhat mysterious, adding to his legend. He was 52. The commonly told story is that he died from a ruptured appendix. This happened after a student in Montreal punched him in the stomach. Houdini often boasted of his strong stomach muscles. He usually braced himself for such blows, but this time he was caught off guard. He fell ill but continued to perform for a few more days. This delay in seeking medical attention proved fatal. For years, people wondered if there was more to the story, but peritonitis was the official cause. His impact on the world of magic is immense. He set a new standard for what a magician could be. He was not just a trickster, he was an escape artist, a daredevil, a showman. He brought magic to a massive audience. He made it exciting and dangerous. Many magicians who came after him were inspired by his boldness and his innovation. He showed that magic could be a truly spectacular form of entertainment. He also left behind a vast collection of books and materials on magic, which became a valuable resource for future generations of illusionists. Even today, almost a century after his death, Harry Houdini's name is synonymous with escape. He remains a towering figure in popular culture. Books have been written about him, films have been made about his amazing life. His tricks are still talked about, still marveled at. He captured the public imagination like few others. The boy from Budapest who dreamed of magic became a global icon. His legacy is not just in the tricks he performed, but in the spirit of determination and the relentless pursuit of the impossible. Houdini proved that with skill, daring, and a bit of showmanship, anything was truly possible.